Mm. Gossipy, highly critical, micromanager. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to be answering a question from a student teacher who is struggling with things that I think a lot of us can relate to. So I received an email this week from a student teacher I'm going to call Jackie. That is not her real name, but she agreed that I could share her email with everyone here and that I would use a pseudonym and erase any identifiers, and for reasons that will become very obvious to you. So Jackie wrote to me, "Hey Laura, I'm a 23-year-old student teacher wrapping up my student teaching semester. Much to my dismay, I have not had the best experience due to my cooperating teacher being very gossipy, harshly critical, and a micromanager. I have managed to finish strong, but I feel a bit of imposter syndrome since my CT, cooperating teacher, has not given me any control or left the classroom much at all during the semester. I feel ill-prepared to take on a classroom of my own this fall. Do you have any advice for how to go into my first year of teaching with confidence, despite the disadvantages I have dealt with?" From Jackie. Yes, I do. First, you got to know that every successful person has struggled with imposter syndrome. We all feel ill-equipped to deal with the huge challenges that we're taking on, and yet we just keep going anyway. Neil Gaiman is the person I think of whenever I think of this imposter syndrome idea, because he talks about it in his excellent speech called Make Good Art. If you haven't seen it, it's a little bit older. You can find it all over YouTube. And in it, he's really talking to artists who want to freelance and sell their art, but I think of teaching as art. So a lot of what he's talking about applies to my life and to yours. In the speech, late in the speech, he actually talks about the advice that he gives to people who have that feeling that you're feeling like, I am not up to this, I'm not ready, I'm not equipped. And he basically says, think of what a person who was ready to rock that classroom would feel like and do, and then go do that. Just pretend, just jump in and do it. He says it more eloquently than I am. I'm going to try to put him up here for you. But basically, you got to roll up your sleeves and you got to start somewhere. So you are ready. You're more ready than you think. You have survived the student teaching experience. You've learned a lot more than you know, and you're ready to put it into practice. Next, every student teacher, I don't care how great their student teaching experience was, has that same feeling inside of them. It's nerve-wracking to inherit a classroom all of your own at the beginning of the year, and everything's on you to set up how you're going to control the classroom. What's the curriculum going to be? Learning all those student names and personalities. It's a lot. It's a lot even in the best of circumstances. So even if you hear another classmate talking about how amazing their student teaching experience was, they're still going to face the same struggles that you're going to face. And so there is no such thing as a perfectly prepared first year student teacher. Everybody's going to struggle. Everybody's going to need help, and everybody's going to cry at some point during the year. You just are. And what a wonderful thing to feel such intense emotions about something you do for a living. Those butterflies and that anxiety even that's kind of like creeping up inside of you, to me, that's a sign that you really care about the work that you're doing. You want to do a good job. You want to do right by those kids. And what a beautiful, wonderful thing. So reframe the way you're looking at those feelings and use them as fuel instead of being scared of them. Okay, but that's all mindset stuff, which is great, but let's get into the nuts and bolts. There are some specific things I want you to do now while you're still in your student teaching assignment. It's April when I'm filming this, so I'm hoping you have another month and a half or so to go. And then some things I want you to do in the fall when you get into your first classroom and your first campus. While time remains on the campus where you're student teaching, go and visit as many other teachers' classrooms as possible. I realize you're probably teaching 2 classes a day right now, and you probably spend a third hour, the prep, with your coordinating teacher. But once those commitments are done, there should be a couple more hours in your day where you can get out and about on campus and with permission, be just a witness in those people's classrooms, because you're going to learn a lot about what to do, what not to do, what you like, what you don't. Some of the games that I've learned that I picked up and have used for years in my classroom, I learned from Spanish teachers. A classroom management technique I used very successfully was from a psychology teacher. So you never know where inspiration is going to land. You'll see a lot. You'll pluck out the things that feel good to you, that feel like aligned with your personality. Filling up your teacher toolbox now with as many examples as you can should help you feel more confident. Start building your teacher support community now while you're still in student teaching and you still have college friends that you can make connections with. Find those people who align with your philosophy, who you find motivating, inspiring to share ideas with. Get their phone numbers, make connections, figure out who might be looking for jobs in the same area as you. You have to network. You have a cohort, I'm guessing, of student teachers you've been going through with. You know who the ones are that you would want to stick with. So definitely reach out to them, maybe host a barbecue at your house, or hey, why don't the three of us go out and get coffee? You need to start planting the seeds that will take root, because you're going to need those people to support you through. If you have not found those people in your student teaching program, maybe look around the campus you're on right now. Maybe there's a teacher like maybe closer to your age, or you have some other common interests with that you can make a connection with that goes beyond your student teaching assignment, and just hold on to that person as a friend. Even if it's like an older teacher and you just offer to take them out to lunch once a month, or hey, summer's coming up, I would love to pick your brain about your writing instruction. I know this is a cool thing you were doing. Can I take you to lunch one day? Oh my gosh, teachers would be so flattered to be noticed and to be seen as a resource. I'm flattered that you reached out to me. So start making your network, because you're going to need those people to support you as you move along these first few years of your career. Also, reach out to me and other teachers online who are sharing ideas and trying to support each other as we go. There's a lot of YouTube teachers. There's Facebook groups of people who are just sharing ideas and commiserating. You definitely want to find the groups that are focused on positive solutions. You can definitely slide down the grumble grousing wormhole pretty quickly, so avoid that when you sense that. Weirdly, TikTok has been a source of inspiration to me over the last few months. It's an algorithm that learns what you like. So if you engage with teachers who are positive, realistic, and offering wise solutions, and you like that and you comment, TikTok will give you more of that and will help you find those people digitally. So however you need to do it, in person, online, you need to feed yourself with positive energy and good ideas, and people who, when you throw a question out, will come up with 17 solutions. Read. If you have time now, great. If you got finals coming up and this isn't the time, then June. Let that be your time. But you should be reading Penny Kittle, Kelly Gallagher, Harry Wong. Those are names you should know. Look them up, read their books. Me, education books are okay, but I find my deepest inspiration from nonfiction books for other realms. So for example, Daniel Pink's Drive, I'll put it here, is the main motivator for me to build 20 Time, because it was all about human psychology and motivation. How do I get those teenagers to want to do work for my class? That was my question, and 20 Time was my solution. So you need to feed yourself with the good stuff so that you can come up with the solutions that make sense to you. And then for now, for this summer, as soon as you get your job and you know what your assignments are going to be, I would start planning. I'm an over planner. It calms me down. I would recommend, once you have your assignment, hopefully the timing works out, you could build a whole month's worth of lesson plans and have that set so that when the school year starts, you're going to be dealing with a whole bunch of other things too. That'll be one less thing to worry about. Now, you have to keep in mind that that planning you do will likely change, because students' needs are going to be different than you anticipated. They're going to move faster or slower than you planned. But still, for me, that planning is the security blanket that lets me sleep at night, because not having a plan for next week always made me really nervous as a teacher. So later in my career, I actually had like my entire semester planned out, knowing that things would change along the way. And it just made it so I could think about other things. So as soon as you know, you can start to figure out what your preps are and what calendars make sense. I have some calendars. You can just use mine as a launching pad. But do your thing to fill up that space on the paper so that you can leave your brain space for all the other things you're gonna have to deal with. Side note on planning, you're going to want to over plan each day's calendar. Do a little bit more than you think your students at that level are going to be able to get through, because they probably will get through it, or at least one or two of your sections will. Like, let's say you're teaching the same thing 4 classes a day. You'd be surprised how varied the experience is in those 4 classes. Sometimes you'll have just people who zip through, and then sometimes there'll be people who take almost twice as long. It's just the chemistry of that class and just the way this master schedule has those folks landing in your world. So over plan so that you're ready to go. And one of the things I did also was create a collection of games, low prep, no prep, that I could just throw at a class as a sponge towards the end of the hour. And if you want me to, I could put together a video about time fillers that are useful and, not an actual waste of time. They're not time wasters, they're time fillers, sponges basically into the class activities that go along with the quarter trios. I've talked about that in other videos. You can go find the quarter trios video, but it's a way to play games, build community, and use every minute of class and help keep your classes leveled as you move through your calendar. Okay, now once you're actually on your new campus, you want to find your people. Start looking around for the other staff members who have the same kind of energy you want to match. You need adults who have your back on that staff, and you want to make friends with them. My experience is that the teacher lunchroom is probably not the best place to go to find those folks. They tend to eat lunch in little hidden pockets around campus. But once you see a teacher, you'll just know the energy. Go make a friend. Just tell them, hey, I'm new and I need friends. Can you have lunch with me? And the new teacher, if the teacher is the right kind of teacher, they're going to say, yes, come on in. If they're a jerk and they say, no, that's not your person anyway. And you never know when you're going to find a best friend. In one of those groups, I actually clicked so well with a fellow teacher that we started Tuesday night supper club at her house. So every Tuesday night, I taught an evening class in that season of life, and I would pick up groceries. I would drop them off at her house, and then I would go to the school where I taught my hour-and-a-half Tuesday night class. While she came home, she cooked dinner. I went back to her house after school, ate dinner. We had a glass of wine. We lesson planned. We laughed. We made fun of each other's love lives. It was a beautiful season and a beautiful friendship. So hopefully you can find your person that will support you with laughter, wine, food, and lesson plans. And that's not to say to not make friends with all the teachers on your staff. That's the next thing you can do when you're on that new campus. Whenever any veteran teacher, or anybody really, offers you a lesson idea, a classroom management technique, any kind of resource or anything, even, hey, do you want to get colored paper out of my cabinet? Your answer, new teacher, is yes and thank you. You want to say yes, even if it's something that you don't think you'll necessarily use, because it keeps open that line of communication. The other teacher feels appreciated, and you never know where inspiration's going to strike. There might be a nugget of something in that resource that they just shared with you that you can use for your own classroom. But no matter what, they'll keep feeding you with new ideas and things and resources, and even just like office supplies. You want this extra thing of index cards I have? The answer is yes. Thank you. When you're in that new position, ask a favorite administrator if you could have some release time to go watch other teachers. And if the answer is no, because I know subs are just impossible to find right now, once in a while in your prep period, one of those spark plug teachers that you're having lunch with in your lunch bunch, say, hey, you know what? I have third period prep tomorrow. Would it be okay if I came to see that lab that you're talking about? Again, they're flattered for the attention. You're learning from a seasoned professional. It's a win-win. Yes, you give up your prep period, but you're going to be learning and filling up that toolbox. And honey, you're going to be exhausted for the whole year anyway. What's one more prep period? And thinking about resources, you can borrow from teacher friends you don't even know. Over on teacherspayteachers.com, you know I love that site. And yes, I hope you buy some stuff from me. But even if you don't want to spend a penny, that site is deep with ideas that will help you figure out how you want to deliver the curriculum, the ideas to your students. So there's freebies you can download, but you also can just do a search in the catalog, scroll down for ideas about how other teachers have taught the same subject that you're about to teach. You might see something in a product description that sparks something in you. And then you, if you have any kind of design skills, you can just build it for yourself and use it for your classes. So don't be afraid to use online marketplaces as resource idea factories for yourself. It can be really, really helpful to see how somebody else has done it. Okay, so those were some of the nuts and bolts. Back to mindset stuff. I hate to break this to you, but this struggle idea or this uncertainty that you're feeling or feeling ill-prepared, that's never going to go away. That's a forever thing for a teacher. Just when you think you have it on lock, you get a new prep, or you have to teach a new grade level because things got transferred over the summer, or you get assigned, to a different campus altogether, or your family has to move cross country, or you get 3 new students who are from overseas, and you've got to find a way to communicate with them and assimilate them into your classroom. So there is always a challenge with teaching. But that is also part of the fun. This job does not get boring. It is always something new. So times change, People change, you're going to get older, your life situation is going to change. Just stuff is always changing. Things will even change with the group of 30 students that you have second period. They will be a totally different group of people in third period. And so you're just going to have to get comfortable with that idea and comfortable with the idea that you can only control this amount. You can't control everything. You can have some resources and ideas about how to do it, and then you just kind of go for the journey. So embrace that idea. I taught for more than 2 decades. If you threw me in a classroom today, I would have the same butterflies that you're having. So it's natural. And when frustrations mount, those difficult times come, you fail, and you will fail. I want you to try to remember why you became a teacher. You are an agent of change. You have decided to spend your hours helping kids become better, and that is magnificent. Every day, you won't see the progress, but over time, it adds up and it really, really matters. So let those moments of awkwardness, frustration, futility, anger, frustration fuel you. Let those moments of frustration with your coordinating teacher remind you that you want to do it differently. You want to be a better, different, more responsive, compassionate teacher. And then when you become a mentor teacher a few years down the line, you'll remember this feeling and you'll do better for the next wave of student teachers who are coming up. And this topic is so personal for me. It's just been rolling around in my head all week because my own daughter is one of those future student teachers. She's in college right now. She's told me she wants to be a high school history teacher. Oh my gosh. And this week she started her her initial observations at one of our local high schools. And she's coming back telling me about all the things she's seeing, the things she loves, the things she hates, and all those in between. And she's going to be there right behind you. And part of me is like, but yes, right? We need her and her fire, and we need you and your wisdom to get in there and to take the baton and do the work for the kids. You're from Gen Z. Y'all are built differently than my generation. We're tired. Us Gen Xers and those boomers who are really retiring, we are tired. We've been doing the work for a while. And I don't think I ever had the fire that I see in my child and in her friends. And I'm guessing, Jackie, you're built to the same stuff because you chose to become a teacher, and that is a very special thing. You all see the world for how it is, and that disillusionment period that I had to go through in my 20s, you guys are jumping over that. You're in a different world than I was in. You see the world very clearly. So Jackie, you're going into this profession eyes wide open. You see what it is, and now you're going to take action to correct it. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you're going to save so much time. You're not going to waste years trying to figure out that the system's broken. You're like, oh, the system's broken. Let's go fix it. So that's what I love about your generation. And I wish I could just bottle it and just drink it up, because it is so refreshing to see young people doing the work that needs to be done. And we haven't even figured out what education is going to look like 5 years from now, but you are going to build it. You are. And I'm going to be back here helping as best I can, but you are building it. And that's amazing. Finally, please know that no decision is forever. That's something I've learned in my aging years, is that you have the ability to spend your life's work doing the work that matters for you right now. And if that changes after a while, that's okay. So sometimes we get so worried about making the wrong choice or starting off on the wrong foot that we don't realize that you can change everything. In my career, I didn't start out as a teacher. I started out as a newspaper reporter. I worked as a website editor. I worked as a high school teacher. I worked as a graphic designer. I've worked now as a library assistant. I've done a bunch of different things. I sold books, I've tutored, anything and everything. It just kind of comes and goes, and it all makes up the awesomeness that is you. So for now, you're going to be a teacher. What an amazing thing. You're going to learn so much and have an adventure and have stories to tell. But no decision is final. You can always change your mind, take on the next thing, do this until you just don't want to do it anymore. And that's okay too. So hopefully that eases some of the pressure on you. You are not an imposter. You are a trained professional who is needed in this world. So do those things, arm yourself, fill up that toolbox, whatever analogy you want to use, and get to work, my friend. The last resource is me. You know, I'm always around. I'm on the blog. I'm on the socials. I do all the things because even though I'm not in the classroom, my heart is still in the classroom, and my kid is going to be in the classroom. So I might not ever leave education. I don't know. Maybe I was going to say, you know what I was going to say, and I don't know if I'm ready to put that out into the universe just now because I'm worried that someone from Metro School District might give me a call. But for now, I'm going to keep my tushy in the library and keep making YouTube videos for you guys. I love you. You're awesome. It's going to be great. You're doing better than you think you are. Okay, that's it for me. If you have questions, comments, issues, or concerns, leave them in the comments. You guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.